ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Propagandacast Commander Ranking with me, a host, Imperial Dane, master of ranking stuff and telling you what's the best, or at least in my opinion the best. We're off into the final video in the series, unless they suddenly decide to do a major overhaul or, you know, do new commanders. We're here with the Wehrmacht, which, like the Soviets, have a lot of commanders, and a lot of them are not, you know, particularly amazing because a lot of them are just kind of slapped together from different abilities, so let's have at it. What is bottom tier? Well, there's quite a few there. There might be some more controversial, but I'm going to stick to my opinion because it's my opinion. First off, we got Jaeger armor and fortified armor. Both of them are not very good. Part of it is because A, they're very similar to each other, and also B, because reliant on the Elephant Tank Destroyer. So the thing is, the Elephant Tank Destroyer is a terrible unit that only really excels in otherwise terrible situations, meaning it's basically it's just this really weirdly designed unit. It's like a massive gimmick, like this heavily armored, really good tank destroyer, but that also is incredibly slow and also very limited in scope. Like, it's a massive armored gimmick, and honestly, I don't know why on earth Relic added it in the first place. There are so many other heavy tank destroyers they could have gone for. They would have been easier to balance and make playable, but instead they went for the flippin' Elephant Tank Destroyer. Like, seriously. A massive mistake though on the scope of the British and adding snipers to the game. Like, just why on earth they'd add the Elephant, I don't know. And it basically just drags these two commanders down to garbage tier, like tier 4. Like, absolutely no go. I mean, fortified armor is just another Elephant Tank Destroyer. Doctrine again, the idea is fortified armor. What is that? Is that defensive armor? Is that Festung armor? Like, what's the difference? Like, there's too much overlapping here for some already. It's just, like, what is it in the end doing? Nothing. Like, it's just this stall out for an elephant doctrine, except you try to stall out for an elephant in most situations, particularly 1 versus 1s. You're dead because the elephant isn't very good. Again, except like extremely bad situations where, again, things are so utterly extreme with the too many players and terrible maps and large team games, like, it might become good. But again, at that point, that's just basically the rest of the game breaking down under bad design until the elephant becomes sufficiently good. Like, again, it's not a good unit, and by extension these two commanders, which are pretty much just built around in weird ways, are not good commanders. Like, they're just garbage. An extension of that, we got Festung armor, fortified armor, whatever. Again, like, it's fortified armor, Festung armor. Like, okay, it's a defensive doctrine, great, like, but does it do anything usefully defensively? Nope. Like, it's got a lot of stuff which is just going to be shot down by allied artillery, which is much better for starters, and you don't have enough range to hold down, doesn't matter. Tactician is the Pack 44, of course, is just a big target, and the railway artillery support is kind of nice, but again, like, it just doesn't do a lot, and most of the time you don't see it. Like, if you want a defensive doctrine, there are better ones, but overall they do not see a lot because the Wehrmacht as a defensive faction right now is an illusion. So basically anything that involves the Wehrmacht being defensive, unless it actually is really, really incredibly, absurdly good, is actually bad. And similarly, you find here Festung support, a doctrine which has barely seen usage throughout the history of Communists 2, except like at the beginning where you had no choice. It's like, I mean, again, for something supposed to be defensive, and again, Festung, which gives you an idea of sort of big fortifications and, you know, holding the line and all that, it just has nothing of that. It's got a mortar half track, smoke bombs, relief infantry, which could theoretically work, a howitzer and sector. So it's like a mess. It's just a thing, you know, it's an artillery doctrine, great. It's sort of marked as a defensive one, which again doesn't work. Like, it's just weird. It's just weird. And moving on to other doctrines, just kind of weird because, again, we'll find a lot of Wehrmacht tier 4 commanders. We got Luftwaffe Supply, a doctrine that could basically be called support doctrine, because that's basically what it does. It's just a load of supportive abilities, but none of them particularly good. Incendiary bombing runs, you just don't see them used. The Stuka bombing strike is in theory nice in certain situations, but beyond that is limited in usage. Supply drop zone, yeah, I mean, most people don't use that, and similarly airdrop medical supplies and reconnaissance flights. It's just like, it's a lot of supportive abilities that just don't lead anywhere. So they're themed around air support, but it's just not very good, in particular not with allied anti-aircraft guns. Crews just be able to shoot them down within a second of them appearing at the very edge of the map. Like, it's just bad and could seriously do with a serious overhaul, probably involving some sort of airsats, Luftwaffe forces or something like some infantry. Similarly, we got close air support, which was at one point was utterly busted, but then got nerfed into the ground, and Now it's just utterly bad because, again, it's just a bunch of abilities with not enough munition to back it up and nothing beyond that. And even then, a lot of the strafes are too slow. Honestly, just add an officer. I think they actually had one of the, theater war missions for the Luftwaffe. Add that in, have some of that stuff, and then give it some other elements, to sort of flesh it out. Because right now, it's just pointless. Like so many other the Tier 4 Wehrmacht commanders. Like, there's a lot there at the bottom. So that's basically sort of roughly it. Well, we also got Blitzkrieg, which kind of overlaps with Lightning War. I mean, it's basically the same name, just in English and in German, because logic. But again, for something about Blitzkrieging, it really doesn't offer a lot of that. Like, it's just got a command tank, it's got some tactical movement, some stupid close air. Well, it's got a sort of mix of abilities, but it doesn't really cohere, it doesn't really work together. Like, it's meh. So that one also goes into Tier 4. So moving on, Tier 3, we find Mobile Defense, which in theory was good when Puma was good. Again, you just get a lot of reliance on that, but at the same time, that's kind of the doctrine. It's very much built around the Puma. And once the Puma required, actual tech and all that, it pretty much just sort of dropped through the floor. Like, I don't know, reactor number 3 at Chernobyl was a reactor number 4, can't quite remember. But either way, they just went through. And like the rest of the doctrine, again, just doesn't really feel like it's got a lot there. Mobile defense, alright, so swift mobile, shifting from point to point maybe, but the doctrine offers nothing like that. Increasing like the command tank, again, it's just, honestly, I feel like the command tank just needs an overhaul. Like, it's just this weird unit that increasingly has just been rendered useless because, again, just giving out an all-around command aura that just reduces damage was a bad idea, and rather than just, switch over how it works like some of the other stuff, like for example the command officers, the Orbital Commanders, they just kept it there until it's pointless. Then you got the Austrian reserves, which in theory might have been good, but increasingly aren't good either. And you got counterattack tactics, again, it's in theory good, but again, like, maybe if it applied to vehicles as well, again, they had more of that mobile defense, but in the end, there's just not really much about it that's very mobile or very defensive, so it just ends up being sort of, crippled because that's relying on 2 units that used to be good, but aren't. So it can be good, but, like, thematically it's kind of weak as well. Then I think it's almost close to being Tier 4. Then we got Mechanized, which has the Mechanized Grenadier Group, which is nice. Command tanks, howitzers, smoke bombs, spotting scopes. Again, thematically there's a bit there at least. Again, Mechanized Grenadier Groups can be nice. Again, sort of the things work, but like, it's only just a bit better than, for example, say Blitzkrieg or Mobile Defense, because it offers more in the early game, which is really just increasing what a lot of the Wehrmacht doctrines need to offer, something in the early game that's actually useful. So while it's sort of there, it's not a lot there, really. And then we find Storm Doctrine, which sort of, again, kind of works like your ambush tactics, or ambush training, which is kind of nice if you know how to use it. But beyond that, I mean, if you sort of look at it, Storm Doctrine, alright, Assault, none of it really is assaulty. Like, there's no big assault, but he's got Regal Mines, again, ambush training, smoke bombs, howitzers, Stuka bombing strike. There's not really a lot that says I'm going on the offensive here. Like, it's a mishmash doctrine like so many others, and it just doesn't really lead to anything. Like, it's slightly better than some of the other stuff, but it is sort of borderline Tier 4. So yeah. And then we have Joint Operations. Similarly, there's some good stuff. You got the artillery field ops. Again, you got something early game. There's reconnaissance so far. You got howitzers packed for the feast and artillery barrages, but again, it sort of lacks any sort of more specific direction. It's just sort of a mix of things that's sort of mediocre. Some of it is kind of good, but yeah. I mean, packed for the feast, again, just aren't very good at the moment. They're just too easy targets, too expensive. Just, they don't have enough range. Like, they're just not very good. So it just sort of hovers, like, around Tier 3, but again, it's sort of like borderline Tier 4. Borderline Tier 4. But again, it offers something in the early game, which is why I'm willing to put it Tier 3-ish. So that's sort of that one. Lightning War, not quite there. Then we got another one that is Tier 3, Spearhead. One of the target doctrine, but Dane, was there target tank doctrine in Tier 3? Well, because the doctrine is very much just the Tiger tank. You got mortar half-tanks. No one uses those because they're bad and too expensive. Panzer tactician, not really useful in the late game when you need to, like, kill allies fast. Recon Zoophyte, nice. And again, Tiger tank, great fragmentation bomb, great, but again, like, it just doesn't really offer a lot of the Wehrmacht needs right now to survive. And again, most of the time you don't really see it a lot, so it's Tier 3, like, again, the Wehrmacht has so many Tiger doctrines, and honestly, a lot of them are quite frankly better than this. So I'd say that sort of covers that one. Again, theoretically nice, but in the end, not nice enough. We also get Defensive Doctrine. Bad side. It's almost tier 2 in fact, but it's sort of slightly being held back in part because it's just another Ostrom Doctrine. So while it is close to tier 2, it's kind of like Ostrom, but it's repeating the joke, but it's just not doing it very well, and it starts a bit too much. And again, it's got the Pak 43, like it just drags it down. Like any Doctrine with the Pak 43 will find itself dragged down because it's not very good. Like they should have gone with a Flak 80. And it's just one of those weird unit choices they made, like, you know, alongside the Elephant. It's just, well, should we go with a Flak 80, which we could make some sort of flexible unit? No, let's go with the Pak 43 because we don't want to be, you know, taking too many iconic units. We want to go for something that's going to be really difficult to actually make good, but at the same time not too good. So let's do the same thing we did with the Elephant. Let's choose a really gimmicky unit and then just, you know, not make it good. So yeah, like, it's kind of good, but again, like, the Pak 43 just drags it down like dead weight. So that sort of kind of covers that one. Then we move on to tier 2, where we got Lightning War. It's kind of good, but it sort of, you know, isn't very fast. Like, it lacks something to really push through. We got Relief Infantry, which just, for the whole Blitzkrieg thing, feels a bit weird. But it's got a lot of good abilities, but just a tactical movement, theoretically nice, but it's just, I mean, there's increasing amount of many other abilities that offer more, and it just isn't very good. Like, got G43s, nice. It's got Tigers, nice, but it kind of lacks a bit more there. It lacks just a bit more to sort of think really be there. So close one, but not quite. We also got Ostrom there, tier 2, also another solid doctrine. Again, very much more early focused. Guys seeing a lot more firepower and all that stuff. Though again, it sort of trails off late game, but still solid. Thematically, very close. Could maybe do a bit more with the Ostrom, but otherwise I would say thematically very solid. It just is a bit short on the power level. Just a bit short. Just a bit. Assault support. Honestly, maybe should have been tier 3, but it sort of offers a bit more in some ways. So there's a bit more disruption. You got the supply Orbital Blitz, which, you know, can provide resource. You got the artillery field officer. You got the Tiger. I mean, it's got a nice package, but it obviously isn't tier 1. But I do feel like, again, it just sort of works a bit better. And again, it has this sort of vague support element to it. And again, if you sort of look at that assault support, what does that mean? Like, most of this stuff does not really support doing an assault, in fact. Like, some of that would be more like, you know, Stukies or something with a bit more punch. So, I mean, maybe it should actually be tier 3 now that I think about it. Maybe, but that's that. And that, of course, sort of leaves us with a small dwindling number of sort of things between tier 1. We got Mechanized Assault, which has assault elements. It has mechanized elements. It's got the Tiger. It's got artillery. It's solid. It's tier 1. And now that assault grenadiers are good, and the Mechanized Assault, that is the 250 half-track, is good. Thumbs up. We got German infantry, which is definitely probably one of my favorites. I mean, it's not quite infantry based. I mean, you got some mechanized elements as well, but it's good. Like, you got half-tracks, you got stormtroopers, which are good. You got the veteran squad leaders, which is really good. You got assault and hold, which is really good now to use. You got fragmentation bomb. Like, it's overall a very solid package. Sort of helps deal with, again, with the Wehrmacht sweetness, which is the early game, allows you to survive until the late game, and it gives some infantry a much more greater deal of punch, and it's just really fun to play with. It's just solid, very good, definitely tier 1. Then we got elite troops, stun grenades, G43s, stormtroopers, panzer tactician, yeah. And the Tiger race, like, again, it's a solid package. Perhaps not as solid as other packages, but, you know, it works. It may not quite feel as elite, and who knows, maybe something else there could be added, but it works. Like, it really works. Similarly, we got Jaeger infantry, again, ambush training, G43s, Jaeger command squad, artillery, Stuka close air support, again, good early game, good abilities. Some stuff to do there to really make it powerful. You got Jaeger command squad. It's overall very solid. There's a reason it's one of the more picked Wehrmacht commanders at the moment. Very solid. 2 thumbs up. Definitely tier 1. And then this one is obviously me just being utterly biased and just going screw the rest of everything I just said. Sorry about that. Something just decided to pop me out of the game because everyone laughs when they just popped out of something they're fucking doing. No. Again, this one is just honestly me being utterly biased, but again, I love this doctrine. I'm not playing it so much. You got ambush training, you got stormtroopers early game, break supply line, breakthrough close to pocket, just some more stuff. But again, it's a really fun ability, and breakthrough can also be used with like these mass armored assaults. And it really makes me wish they just make a mass blitzkrieg ability, like they get move faster and they shoot fast. Like, just do it really. I feel like you could actually make Blitzkrieg good if you just gave them a Mars Blitzkrieg ability. Some of the other doctrines as well. So again, this one, honestly, more me being biased, but this one is like a personal tier 1. It's really fun. It's really fun. And finally, we got Strategic Reserves, though. Maybe it's more of a tier 2, admittedly. I mean, parts of it are working. You got Assault Grenadiers. You got the Panzer IV Model J, which is just straight up better Panzer IV. You got the Tiger 8. And then you sort of got breakthrough equipment and mobile observation posts, which just don't make any sense. Like, breakthrough equipment doesn't do anything for it. And mobile observation posts, like Strategic Reserves, these mobile counterattack forces. Mobile observation posts do nothing about it. It just feels like, again, it's one of those cases where it's trying to do something with the 251 half-tech, but they don't know what to do. So they just keep slapping on useless stuff onto it in the hopes that eventually it'll somehow create this snowball of useless stuff that merges into something useful. But yeah, it's sort of borderline tier 2, but again, the Assault Grenadiers, the Panzer IV Model J, and the Tiger A sort of lifted sufficiently enough to be tier 1, but they're really pushing it with that mobile observation post and breakthrough equipment. Like, yeah. Honestly, they could replace, I think, breakthrough equipment with veteran squad leaders, and the doctrine would be so much better. And again, it could become too good with that, possibly. But anyways, that's sort of my tier listing there. Again, like the Serbs, the Wehrmacht has a lot of, commanders that just are a lot of the same, which is really one of the major issues. But again, there's also, some of these are controversial, like stuff like the elephants. I know some people swear to them, but trust me, you're swearing to false gods. The Stug is your true master. The elephant is basically feces molded into some sort of thing. Some might, at a distance, worship like a god, but again, you're worshipping garbage, dross, chaff. Again, it's a bad unit that should never have been implemented in the way it was. They should have gone with a damn Nashorn. Lightly armored tank destroyer, but again, much easier to balance and actually make damn useful. So yeah, again, not really a lot then. Honestly, there's a lot of Wehrmacht commanders like the Swords that really need a serious overhaul to be actually good, but I doubt we'll ever see it. So there we go, that's the series for now. And again, if there's any series major overhauls again, in particular amongst the Wehrmacht and the Swords, I'll probably redo this series again, or they add some new commanders. But for now, that I think sort of is it here. So that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this video series. Hope you liked it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment. And of course, press the bell button, and feel free to donate or pledge on Patreon. Every bit allows me to keep doing this day after day. So thank you all. You're all a wonderful audience. Cheers.